Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the latest edition of Wow, Lynch, Wow, dedicated to filmmaker David Lynch and inspired by the triumphant return of Twin Peaks. A warning to everyone who isn't caught up on all 4 episodes of the new season of Twin Peaks, there will be spoilers, and they will begin any second. So viewers and listeners, be warned. Today we're going to take a quick look at the returning characters who've appeared during the first 4 episodes. I believe there were approximately 20 returning characters thus far, so let's take a quick look at what they're up to. First we have James Hurley. Everyone knows James was always cool, and here he is, cool as ever. We only got a brief glimpse of James so far, and all we can conclude at this moment is that he has a big fan in Shelly and that he suffered some type of accident that made him even stranger than usual. Then we have Sarah Palmer, another one we only got to see briefly. We know that Sarah still smokes, we know she's a big fan of nature programs, and there is reason to believe that she still has strong spiritual connections with forces few can perceive and fewer can comprehend. And what came as a surprise to me, we even got a glimpse of Major Briggs. His head floated by in the realm of non-existence as a confused Cooper looked on, and the Major uttered 2 famous words: Blue Rose. Briggs was also mentioned later in the story by his son, and it appears the Major's death was likely the result of Bad Coop's doings. Even though Briggs isn't actually in the new season, it's nice to see that his character's backstory is playing an integral role. We also have Dr. Lawrence Jacobi, who thankfully is just as peculiar as ever. We haven't seen a whole lot of Jacobi, but when we have seen him, his full attention seems focused on ceremonial shovels. What exactly Jacobi is up to is anyone's guess, but I'm imagining it will somehow tie in with something eventually. Onearmed Mike is back, and we've seen a good deal of him appearing in the Lodge realm. He appears to be a good-natured ally of Coop at this time, but it's really difficult to understand his goals and motives. The Giant is also back, and of course, he has his fair share of incomprehensible clues and riddles. We only saw the Giant briefly in a single scene with Coop, and this scene has the unique distinction of being the only scene filmed in black and white. Is that significant? And what are we to make of his cryptic hints? We were also given a brief glimpse of the brothers Horn, Ben, and Jerry. Aside from looking older, these 2 appear exactly the same in their mannerisms, both within themselves and in their interactions with one another. Jerry has an epic beard now, and he still has a love for food, and it appears possible that these 2 have some connections to what's going on in New York. Could it possibly be related to the glass box in some way? Shelly is another one we got a quick look at. She was out drinking with friends and complaining that her daughter Becky was dating the wrong guy. This was more than a bit ironic coming from Shelly, who also gave a spirited defense of James as she reminded everyone just how cool he's always been. Will be interesting to see if we learn who Becky's father is and what Shelly is up to. Then we have the character who started it all, Laura Palmer. She was in the lodge with Cooper. 25 years seemed to pass. She kissed him. She whispered something to him that seemed to be upsetting. And then she was sucked away. What did she say to Cooper? What happened to her? Is she the mother that's coming? Is she the entity in the box? Did she sacrifice herself for Cooper? What the hell is going on with Laura? Whatever her part is, it seems very important yet again. This brings us to Leland. He only appeared briefly in the lodge, and he told Cooper to go find Laura. Whatever happened to his daughter appears to have caused Leland great distress, and it seems he has some idea of what ill fate befell her. Leland seemed deeply concerned. Next we have Albert, and we've actually seen quite a bit of Albert. Right now he's tied into the plot involving the discovery of Bad Coop, and he's closely working with Gordon Cole on this. Albert seems to be the key to some evil between Bad Coop and Philip Jeffries, and while he partially confessed to some of this, one still gets the sense that there's more to this than even Albert or Cole now realize. Gordon Cole himself has been a powerhouse character this season thus far. He still possesses infinite potential for comical moments, and there have been several such instances of this already, but he is also coming across as a man with tremendous focus and determination. Cole appears to be deeply engaged in something from his mysterious Blue Rose cases, and you get the impression that Cole knows an awful lot about the unknown, enough that it perhaps even deep down frightens him. Denise came back in a brief scene. She's gotten a promotion, and she doesn't seem to be a big fan of Tamara Preston. Denise didn't seem overly interested in news about Cooper resurfacing, but Denise was certainly correct about one thing. Saying the words Federal Bureau of Investigation, that sure is thrilling. Bobby Briggs is now a deputy. Did Bobby clean his act up? Is he fulfilling his father's vision about him? Or is Bobby the same old drug-peddling Bobby Briggs? Did he become exactly like the dirty cop that he once killed? It will be interesting to find this out, and it will also be interesting to see what other old emotions resurface in Bobby and everyone else, with the hunt for Cooper seemingly underway that's digging up old memories of Laura Palmer. There appears to be something wrong with our beloved Lucy. Cell phones, thermostats, eating evidence, old copy machines, old tape machine calculators, still always stating the obvious, the same hairstyle, the same wardrobe, and an intense obsession with her son, Wally Brando. Lucy is a character often used for comic relief, but it does seem that something more is going on here and that something is really wrong with Lucy. Andy seems to be rolling with the punches, much like Ed did with Nadine before him. But Andy is a quirky fellow himself in his own right. He seems to have a strong attachment to his son Wally as well, if Wally even is his biological son. Andy doesn't seem to care too much for Deputy Chad, and Andy seems to be the same good-natured, decent person he's always been, whose devotion to Lucy is even more amplified. The Log Lady has made some brief appearances that have been very touching given the circumstances. Her log is still giving her messages, and it appears to have had an important one for Hawk regarding Cooper. So what's missing? I tend to believe it's the missing diary page that Annie told Laura to write from Fire Walk With Me, which could tie in with Hawk's heritage when he spoke about the lodges during the original series. Then let's take a look at Hawk. He seems to be playing a very pivotal role in the return of our favorite special agent, Dale Cooper. Cooper once told Hawk that if he was ever lost, he hoped Hawk was the man they'd send to find him, and it appears Hawk is on just that path to do this. Hawk has always been an incredible character, and him having what appears to be an elevated level of importance is a very welcome revelation. And last but not least, we have Agent Cooper. The driving story of the new series revolves around Cooper's journey back from the Lodge, and I imagine, ultimately back to Twin Peaks. It's been a long and arduous journey that took Coop 3.5 episodes just to get his first hot sip of coffee. But this journey seems far from over. Before we get the old Coop back that we all know and love, I suspect there will be a lot more hardships to overcome and a lot more twists and turns along the way. So what do you think about the returning characters so far from the first 4 episodes of the new Twin Peaks? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.